Nation, what's going on? It is that time of the year, football and basketball overlapping. It is the best time of the year. Don't let anybody tell you different. Thanks for tuning in to another week's installment of Mondays with Dalton Pence here on the Big X Sports Radio. I'm Dalton Pence, joined by my guys, Matt Childress and Roman Kelly, taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight, 502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. To get any thoughts in about this weekend's action, today's episode brought to you by the Collier Law Firm. Matt, Rome, what's going on, fellas?
Nothing much, Dalton. Just chilling. Have had a pretty decent weekend in terms of sports. Louisville obviously stays 6-1. Can't really complain too much about that. Patriots got another dominant win this weekend. I'm excited about that.
Shout out to I took them, had them in a 2-leg on my FanDuel.
Okay.
I've been doing like two leggers for $50. And this week it was the Patriots and the Bucks minus 2.5, and that was such an easy cash.
Free money.
Rome, what's up, brother?
Not much. Feeling good. A lot to react to. Up and down kind of emotions with my Louisville fandom this weekend, as I'm a big basketball fan. I got to go see them in person. Not necessarily look exactly like I thought they were going to be looking, at least in the realm. Not necessarily there. But the football team doing the job, getting the job done, getting a win, a much-needed win in terms of keeping the hopes alive for what we want to achieve this season. So I'm feeling good in that aspect of the Louisville side of things. Lakers getting a win last night obviously feels really good when you're missing Luka, missing LeBron. And, I made a lot of crazy statements about DeAndre Ayton. I'm definitely not going back on those statements. But the energy and effort level in these last two games from Ayton has looked really good. So I'm feeling good. El Clasico did not go how I wanted it to. That was not fun to watch at all. But I got to shoot 18. First time, 46 days post-op, fellas. I shot a 110 in my first true 18 holes where I'm keeping my own score. So that felt good. Had a 290-yard drive I felt really proud about. Had a lot of whiffs, but basically no whiffs on the last 9. So that felt good. I also started using my buddy's driver instead of my girlfriend's driver, which probably played a role in that.
Sorry I asked. Rome had this prepared. He said, "How was my weekend?" Oh man, for those keeping tallies at home, I don't think you missed a single sport.
I forgot to mention most of that in the bike show. So saving it for Mondays with Dalton Pitt.
Saving it with me. I appreciate that.
Forgot to mention the 11-on-11 soccer
game home. So you'll have me for 2 segments, unfortunately, but you'll end the show on a high note with the A team with Rome and Matt. Guys, I will let you pick. Do you want to talk about football or basketball first?
Let's go basketball.
I want to talk about basketball.
Okay. I had to say this over and over and over again. And even when I said it, the response was, "Can we stop making excuses?" And I'm like, whoa. Back up. Pause. Rewind. And this was the gist of what I said. I don't think anybody is saying that this was a good performance. The contrary. Pretty poor performance across the board. I don't think the final score was an indication of – I thought the final score was closer than the game itself. Kansas was up by 16 going into the second half. And I made a point that says, the bottom line, this was not a good result, but, it's way too early to be absolutely, just crashing out. There's no reason to crash out right now. There's no reason. It is way too early. Historically, these exhibitions, they haven't really been foreshadowing for the year to come. Now, this year, who else also lost? Number 1. But, guys, you don't have to claim that the sky is falling just because of one bad exhibition game for a brand-new team.
Very true.
I'm sorry. I cannot take it seriously when people are like, well, this team's not really going to be all that good. Are we serious? You're one game all of a sudden after what we saw all spring, now all of a sudden Michael Brown Jr. is a bust. Might as well transfer to EKU. No disrespect to the Colonels, by the way. Ryan Conwell, not the guy we saw last year at Xavier. Isaac McNeely, forgot how to shoot the basketball. You ever seen the movie Thunderstruck with Kevin Durant?
Oh, fantastic movie. Oscar winner.
And the kid has the powers of Kevin Durant.
I remember, wow.
Yeah,
that movie is terrible.
Deep ball knowledge right
deep
there.
In the files.
Yeah, but so I guess Isaac McNeely completely lost his power to shoot the ball. Boy, he didn't show it the last 3 years in the ACC. Adrian Woolley, I guess, isn't all that great. It's guys,
their first game together out there against
damn
opposition.
It's sometimes, and it's, oh, well, Kansas played good.
Darren Peterson played amazing.
Every team has a different timeline. Now, I agree. If you all want me to go with the screwdriver to the rims of the Yum Center and loosen those bad boys up, you let me know. I'll go down right now. Because it seems like every team can shoot in the Yum outside of us. But guys, I'm not panicking. I'm not panicking at all. I would, however, like to see tomorrow when they play Bucknell in the final exhibition.
Sananda Frew pick some things up a little bit.
I'd like to see the whole team just play better.
Yeah.
I want to see an offensive identity. I want to see a defense that looks like they've been able to defend pick and rolls. I want to see a team that just, truthfully, doesn't get outplayed and doesn't turn the ball over 20 times. You know when that happens? When you play together for the very first time.
Against a very athletic team.
It happens, bro.
My first point of this game that I was paying attention to is it almost looked like a football game in the sense of like how scripted the first half was. Like it seemed like we substituted exactly how we like really wanted to. Like, okay, after Ryan Convo gets a few shots and Mike Hill gets a few shots, we're gonna throw Ollie in. We're gonna let him pass the ball a little bit. We're gonna show off Ollie Kaliva's passing ability, and then we're gonna throw Cubby Rogers in. We're gonna have him play hyper aggressive defense, show what this team can. It seemed like Pat Kelsey was allowing these dudes to go out and play their game.
Very well. I mean, you don't know what you have to fix until you see it. And I think that Pat Kelsey took this game seriously because you don't schedule this game unless you do. Texter says, hearing Jeff Brom to Penn State, have you heard the same? First of all, this is a troll that's sending it in. I know who's sending it in. Absolute troll. But here's the thing. There has been some talk on that. We'll bring that up here in the next segment. But the answer is no. But we'll bring that up in the next segment because people are talking about it more and more. But as it relates to this team, I just don't know. You can't get too high. You can't get too low in an exhibition game. The game doesn't matter. I don't think that saying that it's too early to call the season off is an excuse in itself. I just don't. You can do two things at one time. You can understand and see the forest among the trees that, yeah, it's not the end of the world, but you can also be like, hey, you know what? I need to see more. I need to see more from this team. What we saw is not going to cut it. It's early. They're likely not going to shoot 12% from three many times in a half. They're likely not going to shoot 31% from the field in a half. Much. It is what it is. Hey, Roman, big fan slightly because you won't post bets in Discord, but can you ask Dalton about Jeff to Penn State? Can you stop, bro? Do you know who this is, Rome?
I don't.
Can you see the text?
Yes. Oh, this is Doc. Okay.
Yeah, it's Doc.
Yeah. Doc, I got to get, okay.
Every day that ends with Y, this man is a troll. Certified troll.
I'll get the bets in the Discord, Doc. I'm figuring out a plan where we're going to do this every single day where we give the bets out. Tuesday through Friday, I'll have Discord bets.
What a guy, man. Roman Kelly, man of the people.
Making people money.
Trying my best.
But it just goes into saying I think that it's just too early, guys. I mean, I thought Javon Hadley played well. He's like the only guy that I think back and I'm like, you know what? This guy played really well. Everyone else
felt like he had the right demeanor out there, too.
I mean, everyone had. I feel like the demeanor was fine. I mean, because even when shots weren't falling, guy hits the deck, all four are running out there to pick him up. Like, the body language was fine. The team showed the hustle. They just couldn't get into a groove. It sort of comes down to missing open shots. They missed a good amount of shots. I'm not worried about Michael. I do think, however, he needs to make it a point of emphasis to find his shot in the flow of the offense. I know he can hit these types of shots, but those fadeaway threes to the right, no one consistently in college ball is going to do that.
This offense will create those open threes for you.
I'm all good with you shooting threes, man, but don't make them as difficult as they need to be.
I feel like we also something we rarely did in the game against Kansas was play any transition offense almost at all. Now, our defense wasn't great, so we weren't giving up a lot of, rebound and runouts. But even coming off the inbounds last season, we would push the pace a lot, and that would open up shots for Isaac McNeely and dudes like Michael Brown this year. I wish Isaac Brown could shoot. That'd be really sick.
Well, I mean, we already have problem with turnovers. Putting Isaac Brown on the basketball team might not be the best decision out there, guys.
But I just feel like when we go out, hopefully against Bucknell, we get to see actual sets being run. We get to see a real system be played with this team rather than just a bunch of kind of ISO ball being played, which I feel like I saw a lot. I also felt like it didn't help that Michael started out so slow and Darren Peterson just had a legacy game in the first half. I mean,
there will be more of those from him, but
that's going to get in your head no matter what.
It's not even the tough shots that he hit, because he's one of those players. He's one of them ones, as they say. He's one of them ones. He's going to make some shots that you have just no shot at stopping. The issue is all the open shots we saw, all the shots that had late contests. When he was hot, it was like, yeah, we were trying to do our best to hedge him when he was in that ball screen, but we also defending pick and rolls was a huge issue on Friday night. I know you're going up against Floyd Badunga, who is, I mean, there are easier tasks than going up against him, but damn, man, it just felt like the interior was such a negative on Friday night. We don't have a rim threat at the moment either.
Yeah, but it can come still. First game.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can criticize and call it how you see it, while understanding that this team doesn't suck all of a sudden because they struggled in an exhibition game.
I remember at the beginning of last season, the Chucky to James lob wasn't really there from start to finish. It took them some time to figure out how to find the right spots, when Chucky knows to attack the paint, bring that second defender out. It's not like it's all going to be working perfectly in game one. Mm-hmm. When you're also quite literally not running anything. They weren't even really running basic screen and rolls. Like our bigs weren't screening and then rolling. They were screening and then turning around and screening the next man off the ball. You know, so and then if the person who's curling around that at the top of the perimeter didn't have an open three, we didn't really try to do much from there. It was a super, super, super basic offense that
a lot of standing around.
Quite literally 2 guys standing at all times. We know a Pat Kelsey system revolves around the 4 guys without the ball moving. It's all going to slowly work itself out as these guys get more reps doing the things that this offense is going to ask them to do versus just getting out there.
Can I also point something out? I am all for him being one of the best passers in the country. Not every pass from Ollie Khalifa has to be a flash.
Glad you made this point.
There's somewhere like
he started feeling himself.
He's
Dalton.
trying to make these, and look, it reminds me of me out there on the pickup court, because I love being Jason Williams every time I get the basketball. But every pass that Khalifa makes, and he can make some really solid thread the needle type looks. The issue is that not every single one of those passes is going to go through. And we saw a couple of them when Louisville was trying to make the run in the first half. Early in the second half, he's making a couple passes where it's like, do you really need to do that? Can you just do like a delayed handoff?
That's the thing, is when he completed those, like, what was it, like 4 in a row he had in the first half, or 5 in a row of those were ridiculous, like, backdoor passes. When you have so many of those, that just makes your regular passing a threat, where, like, every single time someone cuts backdoor, they're going to expect it now. So now you can play it somewhere else.
But
now
the issue is he didn't.
He didn't. This game almost felt like we were playing Louisville live, and they were playing a basketball game.
I agree. It felt very discombobulated and disjointed on both ends of the court. I feel like Kansas did a good job of, and this is something that I really am interested to see, because it was kind of an issue at times last year, especially when you played Creighton, when you played Duke, and in non-conference slate. When you play teams that are more physical than you, and you can't be that enforcer, how do you respond? Because it feels like, and I don't want to draw too many comparisons between last year and this year, but it was kind of peaking its head around anyways when Louisville's not the enforcer and they are getting out-physicaled, if you will. Yeah, Kansas was being really physical. What's Pat Kelsey's chess move going to be? That's something that I'm wanting to see, because you're going to go up against some very physical teams here soon. Yeah. Kentucky, I hate to say, maybe most physical team that you're going to play. You've got Tennessee. They're going to be physical. You've got Cincinnati, who, I mean, they showed up in big ways in exhibition play. And like I said, everything right now is projecting, and we're just having a conversation. I think that you would be naive to suggest that there's not at least a concern, but I think you would be overreacting if you said that, well, what we saw on Friday night is what this team is going to look like for the remainder of the season.
Like you said, it is of concern. But we didn't see anything in that game that is not like minorly fixable, like throughout season play. Like you're gonna see more sets be run. You're gonna find out what are
the sets are gonna prevent the turnover.
Interior defense worries me. I think getting Case and Pryor back helps, but
that one
you
doesn't
don't.
worry me.
And that this was the issue with me is that Sananda Frew has to adjust to the college game. It's very different from what he's used to. What league did he come from again, Rome?
The Bundesliga.
What's the acronym?
The BBL.
The BBL. Thank you.
Best league,
No,
best basketball league.
Best basketball league, big baller league.
Did you see that video? Never mind.
Okay,
Excuse me.
we'll talk about that off the radio.
You said what? Is it a safe for work video?
Have
bro?
you seen Sananda Frew's BBL?
What? That's diabolical, bro. Said. By the way, did you see the video? What do you mean? No, I'm intrigued.
It was completely off topic. It's sports related. Lonzo and LeVar related.
I was hoping you were
okay.
gonna go Big Baller Brand instead of BBL.
It was Big Baller Brand related.
What is Big Baller Brand up to? I feel like that hasn't had any steam since Lonzo stopped wearing those shoes on the court. He's like, dude, these hurt my feet. I
At
gotta
their
go
last
Nikes.
game, LeVar brought out this like fancy shoe box with like it looked like a briefcase shoe box. Hands it to Lonzo right after he comes out to the court for warms up. He opens the box up and it's this Cleveland colored pair of these Big Baller Brands. He smiles, puts them right back in the box, zips the box back up, and walks right
What
off.
he said? Never lost.
He is not wearing those. They ruined his career.
He said, never lost. That gosh, it's one of those you just had to be there with all that. But
What
hey,
a
man,
time.
yeah, no, it's
Honestly, I miss him.
it was good entertainment.
Irvin Magic
Right.
Johnson really said this is the next jersey going up in the Raptors.
In the Chino Hills Raptors, maybe.
I was a big Lonzo fan,
I was
and I
not.
was still like so confused where those takes.
I
were coming
thought, and I hated to say it at the time, but I thought that the Lakers were making a mistake by not going out and getting Tatum.
Yeah.
I'm dumb. Tatum and De'Aaron Fox as well. I thought Fox was better than Lonzo, and the only reason they took Lonzo is because he's from L.A. But anyway, long story short, I think
Long story short, BBL.
Sananda Fruza has to make the adjustment. I don't think that even on paper, Louisville doesn't have much rim protection. Evangelos Zougaras is not a rim protector. Ali Khalifa is not a rim protector. Case and Pryor has shown that he can be. I thought that was the one part of the roster I was like, man, I really wish Louisville would have gone out and gotten that premier level shot blocker. Maybe Sananda Frew is that guy. And like I said, this is his first action playing D1 college basketball. And he's got the talent. We saw it in the BBL. But, I mean, I think the interior defense was an issue last year. And maybe it's just me being the worrisome guy that I am. I'm hoping that it's not an issue this year as well.
One thing I will say, though, is we definitely have the body types to be better on the interior defensively this year.
We got more bodies.
True. Yeah. But I think that Frew is physically, he didn't show this, but physically should be more of a presence on the defensive side down low than James Scott was.
He is huge, man.
I think Frew also probably should be at least more of a active rim protector in terms of effort. James would just let guys float the ball right over him, no contest. But Zougaras and Frew, that combo at least gives you some type of presence when you go up against those guys, against those teams that do like to play in those through their front court players. We shouldn't have a lot of those on this roster, but there's a handful of ACC bigs that if we don't figure out how to defend on the interior and prevent pressure on the rim, we're going to struggle.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get
But at
why.
the same time, it's reacting to one game. It's calling it how we see it.
Yeah, I
the
get
smallest sample size
why
possible.
there's look, Louisville could go out there against Bucknell, beat them by 40, and I think a lot of these concerns go away for the moment. Granted, the level of competition decreases, but if you see Louisville making shots, if they're running sets on offense, if they are looking the part defensively, I think that a lot of this concern right now that's being vocally expressed kind of wanes a little bit. We live in so much of a microwave society. What have you done for me now?
Yeah.
Lord forbid we go
want
back
instant
and,
gratification.
Yeah, I mean, and look, and that's another thing is, yeah, you've got these good players, and we know that.
With hype, too, though.
Well, I mean, yeah, this team was very well hyped, and I think that it's almost like they were I'm not going to say too hyped. I think they were hyped to the point to where it got to a point where how do I articulate this?
We thought that
It was going to happen right away.
yeah, all of the positives from last season's team were going to be right on display because we got the
Immediately.
perfect personnel for that play style and for all those good things we did last year. We ramped up all of the abilities and skill sets that we've got on this team, and now it should all come together. Like it was the missing piece. Finally getting the complete roster from 1 through 10 that you need to go out there and have the best form of a Pat Kelsey offense possible. We thought we'd see that immediately because of the hype centered around such important details that would make that happen, right? Backcourt players, shooting, versatility, having multiple guys that have each of those things that we just named. And, of course, it's a little bit shaky and not as fluid, and it's the very first time out there against a team that, I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, is more athletic than you and will be more athletic than you this season because they've just got more strength at each position, which is surprising due to how many young guys they've got. But they recruited well, and they did well in the transfer portal. So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah. I don't disagree. Bucknell, I don't know how much you all know about Bucknell. Matt seems like a big Bucknell guy.
Mike said they've got some pretty skilled guys.
Just got my
for that
credential for
level
their
of
games
play.
this year.
What'd you say, Rome?
Mike said they got some pretty skilled guys for that level of play, especially in the front court, but shouldn't be a team that should hurt
That
us.
sounds like generic coach speak.
Yeah, probably. A little
It
bit.
sounds like, yeah. What do you think about this team? Well, guys, they are well coached. They play hard. They play the game the right way. They don't give up.
They play the game the right way is my least favorite statement coaches ever say.
But it gets said, it gets regurgitated because people like
What is the
and we
wrong
all
way?
know what
It's
it means. It's crazy because like
But it doesn't have a meaning.
coaches know so much about their opponent because they're scouting them like just night and day until the game, and then they go on these press conferences. Yeah, well, they got a good quarterback. They're well coached. They play the game the right way. You're not going to outwork them.
Do you think anybody ever said Kenny Payne doesn't play the game the right way?
Dude, it was watching opposing coaches make stuff up on the fly and squirms. Like, yeah,
these
they
guys
play hard. They play hard. No, they don't. They give up in the second half.
A lot of skilled guys on this team that can do a lot.
Lot of tights on that team.
They
don't fit.
A lot of skilled guys on this team that can do a lot. That was the funniest one for me because you're talking about Sky Clark's crazy shot making.
The best thing was
occasionally happen.
the best what the it's on today's episode. Man, you ain't slick. All these coaches like, yeah, I think he needs a couple more years to get his system in place. I bet you think that, don't you? You want an automatic victory on that schedule.
I think
And he
that
just wants to beat you by one.
out of all the coaches' interviews, Kenny Payne's has to be the one where if you actually went out and said they play the game the right way, it would have been a lie.
I think there's a lot of teams that don't play the game the right way, but I mean, the issue was that no one was focusing on the opposing coaches. People were focused on the blunders from the actual coach who had a notable soundbite every single interview. It had to be a slip up. I want to see who's jumping on and off the Titanic. I was listening to that live and thought, surely that's not what he said. And then it got clipped on social media. I was like, yep, this surely is going to go over really well.
With all
My
the gambling stuff going on, can we investigate Kenny Payne?
Here we go.
Can we
Here we go.
Something had to have been going on.
He was selling games.
No, he wasn't. He was just not the right guy for the job.
Just
and
not the right
He was
guy.
just
the,
that bad at coaching.
He was just look. I mean, it is what it is. I wish it would have worked out. The unfortunate reality was that it was known pretty early on, and no matter how much people wanted to make excuses about it, it just wasn't going to work. And those that went to bat for him over and over, I think that deep down they knew. They just wanted it to work. It's copium, right? Everybody's. I mean, it's willing deniability, if you will. But I'm not here to talk about Kenny Payne because that era is over. Let's talk about Jeff Brom. Is he apparently being courted for some other jobs? When we come back, we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the thing that pissed me off the most Saturday, and it might not be what you think. More on that here at the top of the hour. You're tuned into Big X Sports Radio. Top of the hour here on this October 27th. My gosh, it is the final episode of October. This should be illegal some way, man. I'm not ready for October to end. I love the overlap between basketball and football.
The best.
But thanks for tuning in to another week's edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence. Dalton Pence, Roman Kelly, and Matt Childress taking you up till 7 o'clock. Well, Roman and Matt this will be my final segment. But guys, I said it before the break. There's one thing that pissed me off more than anything this weekend. Can you guess what that is?
The narrow clunker this weekend?
That pissed me off, but it's not the thing that pissed me off the most. Rome?
Didn't the Rockets
It has
talk?
nothing to do about the NBA, bro.
I have no idea. The
Cardinals.
fumbler was at it again?
The fumbler. Such a negative, derogatory way to talk about Isaac Brown.
I mean, he's fumbled in 3 straight games.
has.
They've been very costly fumbles.
Every time he says it, I'm like, come on,
You want me to
man.
call
I have not heard that once, and I'm like,
He
I'm
said it like
speechless.
twice today already.
He came up with that this morning and said, "Oh, dude, this is being thrown into conversation like nobody's business."
At first I thought it was a joke, but no, he's just serious about it now.
Number 19 Louisville coming off a win against Miami. You know what wasn't there? An electric crowd.
Yeah.
That's true.
I'm sorry. I looked around that crowd when those players were running out of the tunnel, and I'm sitting there, and I know that this conversation happens all the time, and I don't want to be old man yells at cloud, but here's the reality. You cannot sit there as a member of the Louisville fan base and wonder, well, why aren't we taking that next step as a program? Yeah, sure, it comes with wins and stuff like that. The fan base has a part in that too. So, number 19, you're 5-1 with everything to play for. You just beat the number 2 team in the country on the road. It's a night game in conference play. It's chilly but not cold. There's no precipitation. There's a little sprinkle of rain here and there. The announced attendance was 50,000. I don't believe it. There's never anybody on the flight deck because everybody wants to go to the party deck, which should be disbanded at this point. And there were too many open seats in the lower bowl. The Adidas section wasn't even all that full. Guys, we are 5-1 in a ranked team. What more do you need to see?
It's too cold, Dalton.
Huh?
It's too cold.
Yeah, too late.
It's too cold.
Kids got school on Monday. Bro, I'm sorry. It pisses me off.
No, it does.
It pisses me off. And it's not expensive to get into the game.
No.
It's not like Louisville basketball where you have to take out a second mortgage sometime to go to an exhibition game. That's different. If you want to get to the next level as a program, act like it. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm sorry. Miss me with the, I had a family obligation. My kid had a game. I understand things do pop up, and I'm not suggesting that you stop making family memories to go to every Louisville football game. But when a good majority of Louisville fans find any inconvenience as justification not to go to games, that's where I get pissed off. What more do you need to see? Can you blame? Let's put it this way. If you have a big recruit on campus, right? You got a big football recruit on campus, and they come to a game, and they see the number 19 team in the country, a ranked team, in the stadium. I mean, granted, the people that are there, they were loud. That's always the case. The diehards are loud. I'm not speaking to you. Please don't take this as me disrespecting you. It's the people that will find any reason not to go to the games. The stadium is 65 to 70% full. And then you wonder why Louisville can't compete with other schools who completely sell out stadiums and have great crowds. Yeah, NIL has something to do with it. But you don't think that tradition has something to do with it?
Didn't we also have like 55,000 plus season tickets this year or some crazy number like that?
I'm not sure. Look, I know that the way that attendance is formulated is that shit ain't accurate, man. I'm sorry.
Here's my thing, though, Dalton, and it's that last point you just made, and that's the tradition point.
Does it not matter?
It does, but that's also that's a double-edged sword for Louisville fans because as a predominantly heavy basketball fan base, this team has only,
Brother, Louisville football has been good pretty much my entire life, and I'm 27 years old.
But what is that? The getting over the hump expectation. When is that? I feel like in these last 2 years, that finally has been the talk of, are we actually on path of being the team that's going to be up at that upper echelon? Are we actually going to be one of those teams that year in and year out is elite? Right now, you've got the coach. You've got the NIL plan. Not finally. You were one of the first schools of our kind of caliber to have such an intricate, good NIL plan. You've got all those tools, yet the team in these last 2 seasons hasn't consistently shown you that they're a team that can go and get over that hump.
I
I
get
think
what
Louisville fans need more. I think the Louisville fan base needs more.
This is not on the program. This is not on the program. And here's
I'm
why.
not. But I think how the
it can't be
fans
fair
view
weather
the program.
because the top fan bases out there will go to a Nebraska game, and when they're 5-7 or 5-6, watch how many people are in those stands, and you won't see many empty seats. There are way too many programs out there that have way better attendance percentage records than we do. I would guarantee it.
But that's never been Louisville.
Okay, then can we stop asking, well, why can't we get to that next level of the program if you're not willing to make the change? Texter says the flight deck was by far the dumbest decision Church ever made. I don't disagree. Close the bowl, dude. Casuals are never going to sit up there unless we're playing a top 10 national brand.
Yep.
Preach. He's preaching on a Monday night.
The thing is like I do somewhat agree with you, Roman. That the tradition just hasn't been built in yet. Like but Dalton said, it's our entire lives.
If you have to wait for your team to be elite,
but
you're doing it wrong.
feel
You're
like that's
fanning
what- that's what
wrong.
this
but
fan base
where
is doing,
where
though.
Dalton is at is correct in the sense of if not now, whenever.
Exactly.
Because you have the opportunity to make your debut in the college football playoff. You're 6-1. Like, essentially, you've paved your own way. You have the easiest part of your butt end of your schedule yet. This should be the time you buy in. So if you can't buy in for a night game that's basically on primetime television on a Saturday night where you just came off of a win against the number 2 team in the country, arguably the best team in the country, then I'll go ahead and say it. I'm going to disagree with what Mike said during his show. I will say that the Clemson game would be disappointing to look at.
It depends on Clemson. I think that the name brand will bring some people, but I don't think it's going to be like the Notre Dame game from 2023. And this is the point I'm making. This is a basketball school. It always has been, to your point, Rome. But Matt just said, if not now, then when? Because we've had years where in Bobby 1.0, we were a Rutgers game away from going to the national championship. In the 2010s, you had a Sugar Bowl team with Teddy Bridgewater. In, 2016, yeah, that Florida State game was packed, but you had the greatest player to ever walk onto this campus. And now here you are in the 2020s. You've got your prodigal son has returned. You won 10 games year 1. You won 9 games year 2. And here you are right there in the mix to get back to the ACC championship game. And here the fan base is again, making any and every excuse not to come. If you don't believe me, look at the stands. The numbers don't lie.
I think until this Louisville program gets to a point where we're going into a season with that same, you're not going to get a Lamar Jackson caliber player. They're once in a,
Even if we did, they're not going to show up for them.
they're once in a century type of players. But that's my point. When you were at the peak of what you had seen in such a long time, not necessarily the peak, like you said, the early years with Rutgers, you had the Teddy Bridgewater years as well. But when you had that Heisman caliber player, a team that went and did that against Florida State, and then never getting back up to that point really again after that, I feel like the Louisville fan base, it's going to take contender level preseason hype on top of that Heisman candidate type of player before they are viewing this program like we do the basketball.
But it shouldn't require
It should.
Don't get me wrong.
I get it, Rome.
Don't get me
you're
wrong.
speaking the truth because that's exactly what's going to happen. I think we're coming at this in agreement. We're just going about it different ways of suggesting it. You're saying that we're saying that it should be like that, and you're saying like, well, even though it shouldn't be like that, that's the way it is. And I get it. And that's why anytime I have a conversation with somebody, it's like, well, how do we take the football program to the next level? Let's look in the damn mirror, folks. First, folks.
I'm with you.
Let's look in the mirror because you want to get to those levels of, again, Louisville's never going to be an SEC school like an LSU or an Alabama or a Tennessee or an Ohio State up north or Michigan.
Yeah, without winning the championship
But if
itself.
you know what's happening in Indiana, people are showing up to games. Even before Indiana just now got to that like legit championship contending level, last year people are going to games.
Football City as well.
I'm sorry. I hate to say it, and people might clown me for this. I love Louisville without a doubt. I will go to war for this team. I will go to war for this program, this university. I grew up here. I graduated from Louisville. I've got a diploma from the University of Louisville. Born and raised, I'm never going to leave. This fan base is as fair weather as it gets, and I hate it. I'm sorry. Do I sound like an old man yelling at a cloud? I sure do, and I don't give a damn at this point. I've just had to sit here and watch this over and over. And guys, I'm watching this crowd pile in against Boston College, thinking, okay, number 19 in the country, you've got a night game, you have everything to play for, and it seems like this fan base did not care.
With every win, you're going to march up the rankings this season if you continue to win these games. I'm telling you, I mean, it's unfortunate.
Maybe I'm being too harsh.
No, you're not. Part of what you're coming from is your personal feeling on what you believe this fan base needs to do. So it's as harsh as you.
The diehards, and look, I'm not talking about the diehards. The diehards bring it, and if you know who you are, you know if you're a diehard. I'm talking about some of those people on the party deck that aren't even watching the game at all, ever. They're not watching the game. I'm talking about the people. If
wasn't ranked, they wouldn't even be there.
Rome, this game was a 4-point game in the third quarter, and I'm watching people leave in masses from the party deck. Shut down the party deck, cut the flight deck in half, do what you have to do, and close it. I don't know. Old man yells at cloud.
I just feel like I hate that Roman is right about this.
He is.
Because, like we both said, like if not now, whenever, I'm going to go on a limb and say that if they keep winning, the attendance is only going to go up and go up because Virginia was awful. Like it looked disgusting in that football game.
The whole crowd all year has been awful.
Yeah, but like that was the one I noticed. I was like, this is a top 25 matchup where if you win, you're undefeated going into Miami. You're going to be a top 25 team, arguably. And nobody was there. And then the Boston College game, I did note that I was like, okay, there's more people here than the Virginia game. Like there was more people. Hopefully, if they keep winning, people keep showing up. At the end of the day, like
you're not getting those masses flowing in until the preseason expectation is.
And it does look bad.
I left the game.
Terrible.
I left the game and was able to have a conversation with what feels like one of the lone Boston College fans in attendance.
What did he say?
He didn't talk about the game. He said, I got to be honest. I don't mean this disrespectful, but I thought for a top 25 team, who just beat Miami, that the crowd would be better than this. And I'm like. I just kind of laughed. I'm like,
yeah, me too.
I'm like, okay, bro, yeah, you're not wrong. Me too. A Boston College fan is saying that.
It's tough. It's tough. Hopefully, I'm going to say this, though. As much as I think that you've got the prodigal son coming back who is the absolute perfect type of coach for your, I don't like the word expectation, but for your, let's just put it like this, NIL level. As a football program, you've got the best coach you can go get. A player that knows how to go.
And that's what worries me.
And get the most out of his guys. Intricate offense. For as old as he is, it's an extremely modern offense. It's amazing. You don't get coaches of this caliber at programs like Louisville. When I say programs like Louisville, I mean programs that have as much money to deal with on the football side that Louisville has. I do think, though, there is a chance, Dalton, that if we just build on each of what these last 3 seasons have been, you just continue to beat the next better team that you can. You avoid those losses again, like we've
Gotta go 12-0 for the fan base to care.
But until that's a shame. That's a shame. As much as I'm with you on that, like I'm past it angering me now because I've learned the realisticness of it.
It made me mad again on Saturday. Is the only reason why I bring it up, and that's kind of like where I'm like, okay, I wonder. Louisville is like, well, if everything works out, we'll go to the game, but can't expect me to walk in when I'm supposed to. Can't expect me to stay all game.
Yeah. The one plus though is that Jeff Brom wants Louisville to be one of those programs.
And that's what I'm holding on to because I mean logic will tell you that there's a reason why this is a stepping stone job historically.
Yeah. The thing about getting to the point that Roman's talking about of becoming one of the like a tradition football program in the terms of people are showing out over and over and over again. And it was kind of brought up as a joke before we went to break, but you have to keep Jeff Brom.
Oh yeah, I mean,
that's the first step. You can't let a dude like Jeff Brom leave and then you're going back to okay, well, who's the next up and comer we're gonna have come to Louisville, do okay, and then eventually go to a better program.
Either fail or go get a better job.
You have to have somebody set in stone to where basically you hold the marbles of where our program is going to go. You don't put it technically and fully in Jeff Brom's hands.
I mean, you have to. I would imagine that the conversations are going on about some type of a raise and extension.
Surely, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, he's. I saw something. Courier Journal posted like he's the 6th highest paid ACC coach and like the 43rd in the country. That's going to change, and
he's the 6th highest paid ACC coach. And he's got the most wins in the conference in the last 2 seasons.
Yeah, since he's been the head coach of Louisville, he's got the most wins.
We've give him what he wants.
I mean, I don't fault the contract we gave him because he agreed to that contract. I mean,
He hadn't played
that's a
it.
good contract.
He hadn't coached at this level yet.
If let's say
Now it's time that you reward him for the 2.5 seasons that he has so far.
let's
better
say
than any other candidate you would have
nuclear
gotten.
fallout happens, and Jeff Brom leaves. He goes somewhere. But like University of Louisville doesn't want to fuss up the money, and is like, hey, we can't agree on a number. Then that is where I will start agreeing with the fans and like,
Disband the
okay,
program.
we're never going to be anything.
At that point,
Now we can go coach, guys.
But we're never going to be anything.
No, I think that, and before we get to break here in a second, I will say this, and this is a purely hypothetical thing. If whatever reason, if Jeff Brom were to leave Louisville because you couldn't agree on a number, give every single dollar you have to basketball because it shows that you wouldn't be serious about football.
That's true.
Give every single dollar you can to basketball because
at that point, the football.
yeah,
program would
what's
just
the
be taken
program?
away.
What's the? I get football brings in the money, but of course it doesn't matter that much if you can't agree on it with Brom. But I don't think that Brom leaves. I think that the most likely situation outcome is going to be raise an extension, maybe announced for the end of the season. But I digress. I trust Josh Hurd to get it done. And speaking of getting it done, I trust Tony Collier to get it done if I get into an accident on the way or at work, because for a guy who's worked on the other side of the table, he knows the other team's playbooks. He knows the big insurance company's playbook, so he knows what he has to do to get you paid. He's going to give you the peace of mind. He's going to give you the most amount of compensation, and he's going to safeguard your rights to the fullest possibility. And if you needed any more convincing, he is a diehard Louisville fan. His family, seemingly one of the first families here in the city of Louisville, big part of the Louisville community. If you or someone you know is hurt on the way or at work, 502-736-8141 or visit thecollierlawfirm.com. We'll be back here on Big X Sports Radio. Hi, this is Dalton Pence.
Welcome back, everyone. This is Mondays with Dalton Pence, even though it's actually Mondays with Matt Childress and Roman Kelly right now.
Hey-o.
Filling in for Dalton again this week. You know, he obviously, like you said earlier, he's really busy calling games right now. He's got a volleyball game to head out to, so hopefully that goes well for him. Me and Roman are going to hold it down for you these last two segments here. First thing I want to get into, I know Mike kind of spoke over it on his show, but I kind of want to talk. I want to bring up again is that head coach Jeff Brom about 4 or 5 hours ago announced that Stanquan Clark is basically rehabbed really well, and he's back in practice this week, which was mind-blowing to me, and that so is Duke Watson as well, and Duke Watson is looking more and more probable for the game this weekend. The reason I want to bring this up, Roman, is because I wanted to ask you, let's say perfect scenario rolls out, we get Stanquan Clark back early, what does this mean for TJ Capers? I mean, this dude's played out of his mind the past couple weeks. Do you throw Stanquan Clark back in there and kind of maybe possibly disrupt the kind of mojo that's going on? Or do you let TJ ride it out and Stanquan is going to have to play a backup?
I let TJ ride it out. I know that's going to be a bit of a hot take, I think. And I don't mean fully. I don't mean you bring Stanquan back and he's just on the bench not playing. I think you got to ease him back. I don't think you want to mess anything up. But I think ultimately you still go with TJ to start, even if you okay, let's call it our next game is Virginia Tech, and then what do we have after that? Cal?
Yes, I believe Cal is the game after that. Yeah, because it's a night game. They changed they adjusted the time to today for a 7 p.m. kickoff.
So I'd say maybe he probably doesn't play Saturday. You get him back a home game for Cal. I think realistically, it would be nice to get him back incorporated for that game, and you still ultimately go with TJ as your main linebacker in that spot, and then with Stanquan being able to be eased back, he gets a little bit more comfortable, he gets maybe back into a little bit more of game shape. Now for Clemson, you're able to utilize him 50-50 with TJ whenever you want to, basically choosing what personnel based on what the defensive play call is, and you kind of have two options there, because I think this time's been great for TJ Capers. I think he's been reliable these last two games. I think he's stepped up. I think he's been a good communicator. I'm not necessarily going to say a leader, but he's been all over the place. He's been communicating with his other guys out there, and he's clearly picking everything up that he's being asked. So I don't really want to mess that up for someone that probably isn't 100% in game shape right now and is probably dealing with a little bit of personal confidence in that injury, dealing with being fully back out there. So
yeah, it's hard to get your confidence back.
I would naturally say that you go with TJ and you slowly ease Stanquan in, because as Clemson as stinky as Clemson has shown that they can be this season, Matt, they've got that run game can still break off.
They still have athletes out. That's still a roster of 5-star dudes.
Exactly, and I think you want your best set of athletes available for this game, which does include Stanquan Clark. So naturally, yeah, I think you want to ease him back, but I'm not just fully bringing TJ out for Stanquan just because he's been cleared.
I feel that same way. I feel like especially on the trajectory that Louisville football is at right now, that's just not a decision that you can make. I feel like you have to stick with TJ. It's just worked at this moment, right? And I feel like if you start changing things, especially in a role like TJ Capers is playing, where Stanquan Clark was your defensive leader going into the season, TJ obviously doesn't take over that spot, but his position. I feel like just interjecting him directly into the lineup, kind of like we did with Trevante Sylvester, I do not think it would work out as successfully as that did, because I don't think they're similar players. I think that you're kind of messing up with the defensive dynamic, which Ron English just has humming right now, barring the first quarter against Boston College, was kind of eye-opening to me. But the rest of the game looked great, and TJ Capers has looked great, so I just don't see a reason not to let this man ride it out for right now. But I do want to see him in the system at some point. Like you said, filling in, giving TJ some rest, kind of getting him some reps out there. Because if he's healthy, I want him to play.
Exactly.
But you can't really stop TJ from having the motor he has right now, unless he has a terrible game or something like that. Maybe then you're smack Stanquan in the back of the helmet, go, it's your time, buddy, get back out there. But as of right now, TJ, I think, is the way you go, and I think you stick with it.
Matt, you were in person. I just wanted to ask before you brought up your next point. What did you think of Jeff Brom's play calling? I feel like that wasn't been discussed much today. I didn't really feel like when I rewatched this morning, my initial watch this morning from start to finish, I didn't feel like that kept being a thing that I'm like, what was that call?
I was on that same part where, like, I was not questioning a lot of the play calls. I was questioning the effort and execution going on. I felt like you kind of said it during Mike's show that there were some runs where I was like, dude, the offensive line looks just as good as they did against Miami. And then there were some plays where I was like, okay, now we look like we're playing Virginia again. Like, it seemed like the effort in this game was an issue. And it seemed like a lot of dudes weren't woken up for it, which was my
Is that
thing.
coaching or what?
That's discipline. That's 100% discipline. That is coaching. The play calling, though, I wasn't against because it seemed like, even though we talked about it earlier, that Chris Bell was comeback man of the century, just curl routes, short dig, short slant, short out. Like, we weren't really letting him go. It seemed like Jeff Brom was back to, like, game one Jeff Brom, where, like, okay, Isaac Brown and Kewan Brown have their legs back. They're ready to go. The offensive line has played well. We're going to rely on the run game. So I wasn't upset about that. But I was upset that even though the run game was I mean, it's crazy to think that I'm complaining about the run game in a game where we had two rushers go combined for 300 yards.
Exactly, yeah.
Barring there was three huge plays. Other than that, Kewan Brown didn't really have that great of a night.
Isaac only had a couple of good runs outside of that big one.
And against the worst defense in the ACC, those are things you're kind of expecting. It made me upset to see that in the second half, where that stuff kind of started to stall out, that we didn't adjust and start thinking, okay, right here we have an 11-point cushion.
Let's get back to the short passing attack.
Yes, we have an 11-point cushion. We can take a few risks. Let's either we can stick with that, or, hey, first down, we just got a big second down. Let's push momentum. Let's go over the top to Chris Bell one time. If it doesn't work out, we got a cushion. Our defense has played well, and we just didn't do that. We played super conservative in this game, and it's just kind of the Jeff Brom way, it seems like, where, like, you're gonna come out with the win, hopefully. That's what it is. It's not going to look the prettiest game, unfortunately. You're not going to absolutely blow the doors off these teams like you want to, but he's going to play conservative enough to get you the win. Thank God it did, because Boston College came out with the fight in the fourth quarter, and we just gave up one of the worst drives I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, you give the fourth down conversion, which we shouldn't have, and then you just let him walk into the end zone, literally.
That one was tough. Also, I think was it right before the half, the broken coverage.
Yes.
To go, like, the tight end was literally blocking.
Well, nobody was there.
Out. Caleb Perry, I mean, you can't even blame it on anybody because no one was within 10 yards.
Yeah, it wasn't even somebody's assignment. Like, it just looked like we didn't run the right setup for this, or I don't want to, maybe the play call was just perfect.
I was going to say, the route he ran, like, the tight end delayed it, and it was, how many times were they going to mention, you were at the game, so I don't know if you've done your rewatch yet, but they mentioned that tight end was an ex-hockey player like 3 different times. His dad is an NFL this and old offensive coordinator. He works for the network now. He was a hockey player up until 2 years ago. Okay, no one cares. He ran a perfect delay route where he looks like he's blocking on that play and not doing anything else, and out of nowhere, he's 10 yards up the field and wide open. And they march right in to get their 17th points of the game. Just a couple of moments like that where I'm like, why has this defense been on point and on the ball as soon as it gets anywhere near a receiver, and then like 3 or 4 plays in that game where just out of nowhere there's a wide open man and James was able to find him. I think one of those, it was similar to the Eli Holstein play, where I guess just as far as secondary, thanks to quarterbacks running, they're done with the play.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he's actually behind the line of scrimmage still and throwing it to a wide open player on the edge of the field. Didn't like that a couple of times I saw it, just because we haven't really seen any of that this season. Am I crazy, Matt?
No, you're not, because this is one we've all given Ron English the flowers this season he deserves. We all have. The people that, even me included, that, were thinking, I can't believe this guy's got a job again.
Yeah.
Like, all of us have basically turned heel, and, like, Ron, if you meet me, I'm buying your lunch, or, whatever. The one thing that I will nitpick about Ron English this season, and I've seen it in every single game, and it's because his system is reactive, it's not proactive. Every single game, there's going to be 2 or 3 plays where we give up something big. It's always in the passing game. We're shutting down the run game really well, but we always give up at least 1 or 2 deep balls every single game where you're like, we didn't even have anybody in the area code. Like, I don't, and what I think it is, I think that when something is going right for the other team, Ron English is like, okay, kind of have a little bit of a cushion here. Kind of, we are the better team. I know our offense will step up. We're going to key in on this one piece of their play, which at that point in the game was the run game. You said earlier that, this is the first team all season that looked like they were just running with ease on us.
Yeah.
And
right up the middle.
Right up. Like nobody was being blocked. We were having like 2 or 3 linebackers have to bring somebody down. Even when we did catch them early, they were leaning forward for like 3 or 4 yards, so it really wasn't making a difference. And that's where the Ron English is like, okay, we're stopping the run game. We're going to make this dude throw the ball, and they punish us. Now, then again, they clean it up in the second half. Defense plays a lot better.
Yeah, they stopped.
But that's been something that's happened every single game where the other team kind of gets a little momentum. We shut it down, and then we get punished because we stick to it for too long.
At least we adjusted this time a little bit. I feel like in past games where we've had these really ugly performances where it almost seems like we mis-scouted what they were doing offensively, or maybe this team has done new things. I mean, that was the case this earlier in the season, right? Was it James Madison that James Brom after the game said that they did some things we weren't prepared for? I don't know if that's maybe happening or not, but it seems like in these ugly games, teams have been able to find certain ways to make things happen, and we haven't always adjusted. We're finally good to see halftime adjustments on the defensive side that work, Matt. And I get that we've all been giving Ron English his props this year. We haven't had to give him props on adversity.
No.
We've been giving him props because they've been dominating. They finally had some adversity. He had to adjust. They had to make some changes on the field, and they were able to do so up until, that one drive in the fourth quarter where we just looked lifeless. Outside of that, though, I feel like there's just been a lot of chatter on this game that has been seeming like the performance was if you put it on like a college grading scale, like a 60% performance or like a 64% performance like that. I think it's more like a 61 or 71%.
Yeah, I do think it's higher because, like you said, both teams started out incredibly sleepy. Like Boston College played a little bit more offensive, but they obviously were going to anyway. They're a great offensive football team. They've put up 28 points average every single game, just like we have, and they play super fast. I mean, they run no huddle the whole game. They never stop. So when you start sleepy, that's going to happen. And like you said, we adjusted really well. We came in. I'm going to say this, and just like Dalton was saying earlier, people might not like it. I'm going to genuinely put on that late fourth quarter performance on the fans.
Really?
That became
rare to do here on radio,
such a sleepy environment. It genuinely makes me think that even the team is like, okay, I mean, game over, we got no fans in here, blah, blah. It's quiet, and then Boston College just kind of ran with it. They're like, all right, you're going to take a step off. We're going to we're going to step on your throat. We're trying to move the ball. And they did. It became dead silent, especially after the Isaac Brown fumble. Yeah. It was so quiet. It was so quiet in there.
Hard to have high vibes after that.
Which you were up 2 touchdowns. I get it. You were kind of tired of what you were seeing at that point. I understand. You're trying to beat the traffic. You're not. But the thing is,
you came there to cheer your team.
You've got to. You have to. I don't want to keep digging up this grade that we talked about in the last segment, but it's the same thing as these are the moment. That right there is the moment the team needs you the most. That's where you come into play, and you kind of just walk out. Because like Dalton said, I will give him props that the people that were there, I was there, I heard it. It was loud. In the third downs, loud. Fourth down conversions, loud. On offense, dead silent in there. I mean, Miller Moss, there were some delay game issues. I don't know where that was coming from. Maybe that's a coaching problem. But the people who were there were showing out, and I loved it. But it's just the people who were there weren't there in the fourth quarter, unfortunately.
It's tough.
Look, I do think the performance was better than games I'd see before. A lot better than Virginia. A lot better. That game is easily the worst I've seen all this year. Personal performance and as a team in general. You start out slow, your defense steps up, do nothing on the offensive end at all.
Yeah, Chris Bell felt like the only positive from that game.
And I mean, the thing is they were just Chris Bell genuinely exposed Virginia. Okay, this team is not as good as we think they are. This dude is getting the ball every 2 plays, and we still can't stop him. Now, Chris Bell's an NFL prospect, He's getting higher on the draft boards every single game. But at the end of the day, we didn't run the ball well at all against Virginia. Our other receivers just weren't getting open. They didn't even try to double team him. So it's like, yeah, that's your one like shining player of that game in which we should have won. The props I will give is that every game we've looked better. Now, has it been, strides and jumps? No, besides the Miami game. But they have looked better. The issues seem to be dwindling, is what I'd like to say. The only issue that's still there is the turnovers.
Got to get rid of those. Got to get rid of some of those dumb penalties too.
Those are terrible.
This is going to wrap us up here on this segment, though. Matt, we've got to get out of here because with one of our favorite sponsors on the Mondays with Dalton Pence being the Call Your Law Firm, we're going to get someone joining up on the Call Your Law Firm hotline right after this. Stay tuned here on the Big X. welcome back in here. It's the Mondays with Dalton Pinch show on 96.1 FM, 1450 AM, Big X Sports Radio. Here as we take you from 5:30 to 7 every Monday. We've got someone joining up right now on the Call Your Law Firm hotline. Special guest, J.R. Anderson, co-host to the Ticket Punchers radio show here on the Big X from 5:30 to 6 every Tuesday through Friday. JR, thank you so much for joining the line. I'm also here with Matt Childress as we're going to talk about a few things as we round out the show. JR is another diehard U of L fan, but of course, obviously the co-host on the Ticket Punchers show. Bringing him on, we got a little bit to chat into tonight. Matt, we've got a lot of NBA on tonight. We've got Monday Night Football on tonight as well. NHL on if you're into that. And, of course, the World Series back on as they've taken their series to L.A. as well. JR, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing amazing. Thank you for having me on. How you fellas doing?
We're doing great. We're doing great here. Matt, this is JR. This is an ex-coworker of mine back when I was doing some work for from Boost Mobile, some cell phone sales managing work, and he was a part of the team that we were connected to. But he's a big-time bettor, obviously, and also a big-time pick giver, handicapper, whatever you want to call it, here on the Big X on this Ticket Puncher show. Fellas, I want to look into the night of sports. Obviously, we've done a lot of talk on U of L, both football and basketball from their weekend, and it's time to talk about the pro sports a little bit here as well because we've got some on. Matt, we forgot to give out our Big X Big Bets in the Running with Roman show. I kind of gave one out later in the day during the Mike Rutherford show like I used to do. I said Kelsey's yards. I'm on the Kelsey 40-plus receiving yards. It's like the only NFL bet that I really do like. You guys know Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce like to get active on primetime games. This is a Monday night game. They're going to have their eyes on them. They're at home in Arrowfield where they like to get active as well. So I expect both of them to be on their A game tonight. And particularly, I do think that I think Kelce gets into the end zone. I don't give out touchdown props, though. Before I ask you, JR, Matt, did you have a personal bet for the night that you wanted to give out that's going to account for the record? I think you're 3 games under 500, I believe. It's time we got to start. Or 4 games, I believe, actually. What are you, 6 and...
I'm 6-7 right now.
Oh, you've come back.
Yeah.
You've marched back.
Because I had Warriors money line when they played the Lakers on, I think it was that night 2 or night 3?
Night 2.
And then I was 5-7 then, so I was 6-7. Tonight I'm going Magic minus 6.5. That's minus 102 against the 76ers.
In Philadelphia.
You're
taking the 6.5.
I'm taking the 6.5.
I'm not mad at this.
I think the Magic look really good this season on a weak Eastern schedule this year. With all the injuries and everything, I feel like if they're going to get it done, they've been building the past couple of years. This is the year they can do it. I don't believe in the 76ers just yet, even though VJ looks absolutely insane. I feel like he is the bright light at the end of the tunnel for them, but at the end of the day, I think the Magic are just a more complete team right now.
I feel you. Do you have a pick for Monday Night Football? They're just in the game.
Mine was Travis Kelce as well, but I wasn't going to give it out because it was a touchdown bet. I genuinely believe that Patrick Mahomes will find him since they didn't get to play on National Tight Ends Day. I think that he's going to force one in for him. So it's not really I don't, like you said, I don't like giving touchdown bets out to people, but that's the one that I was going to take.
Not mad at that. JR, you do a lot of pick giving yourself, so I'm sure this is nothing new to you as we do this here daily on the Big X. But just looking into the night of Monday Night Football, I'm sure you've been doing a little bit of research. You are typically in tune with the Chiefs in particular just because in the last couple of years, they have been a pretty stat-heavy team for the player prop bettors in the NFL like yourself. Is there anything in particular just in the game of how you think this game's going to go that you're keeping in mind?
I definitely think that the Chiefs are going to win this game. I was more so looking at player props because the money line is so slanted at minus 700. I also do think that Chiefs will cover, 2 touchdowns. I think it's sitting at minus, 10 and a half right now?
10 and a half right now.
I love that. I mean, with a backup quarterback, no Jaden McDaniels. So I would say that they definitely cover. My favorite leg of the entire game is Worthy over 45.5 receiving yards. Last week he took a back seat with the return of Rice. So that's minus 112, and Washington gives up the second most receiving yards to slot receivers in the entire league. So Worthy to have a big night tonight, 45.5 yards.
Love it. Love it. I'm not mad at that at all. I think Xavier Worthy gets into the end zone tonight as well, just because you're going to be looking to get active in that slot, that short passing game. They do a lot of stuff in motion where he's in motion out on the wide, and he comes in motion, and they snap the ball when he's in the slot area, right? So he technically starts his runs out wide, but then before the snap comes, he's in the slot, and he does a lot of things after the catch. They love that stuff in the red zone as well. I think Xavier and Kelsey both get in. I think Kelsey probably punches one in himself as well, just because this defense should take the ball away from the Commanders at least once, maybe twice. I think they're going to force a few punts in this game as well. There's an opportunity for the Chiefs to have a lot of good field positioning tonight, and just to have the ball a little bit more than they normally do. And you can expect Pat Mahomes to capitalize on that in his home field, in a primetime setting. I like it. I think they cover as well. The line was up until 11.5, I believe, a couple of days ago. Dropped down to 10.5 now at minus 108, depending on where you're looking. I'm on the Chiefs to cover here, just as a personal favorite pick on this game. But Kelsey's going to be my official Big X Big Bet that should have been given out at 2 o'clock. Fellas, looking into the other night of sports, I mean, we've got the World Series on tonight, headed back to L.A. Interesting matchup here on the mound is we've got Scherzer and Glass now. If I'm not mistaken, Matt, Scherzer had a pretty good outing his last time out, right? Or was it he relieved? I believe he had a good outing as a pitcher his last time out.
Yeah, I think as a pitcher in general, I don't remember if he started or if he relieved, but I do remember him having a good outing.
I'm pretty sure as a starter he had one good outing. I want to say maybe he came in as a reliever before his last outing. I'd have to go look. I'm already forgetting here. I know that Scherzer's already looked up and down once though. This is an interesting pitching matchup just because Glasnow's on the mound for the Dodgers. Until he starts getting tired and high up in his pitch count, he throws really, really great stuff. I think that the Blue Jays can cover that plus 1.5 and keep this game close if Scherzer can give them a good outing, just because those bats have been pretty good. I'm going to stay away from anything I like officially or anything like that. I'm not going to let you guys say, hey, go bet this, but I personally think the Blue Jays can keep this game close. I'm going to take that little plus 1.5 for a small wager. Fellas, a lot on the NBA slate tonight as well. Is there anything else you guys are going to be watching tonight or looking into or paying attention to outside of Monday Night Football? JR?
I was looking at the 76ers game. Right now, the 76ers are underdogs at home, plus 190, with Edgecombe, the rookie, who put up 30 plus in the Garden, which is very unusual. I like Philly in this slot. I know Orlando has Pablo Banchero and Franz, and they're looking good as well.
You're high on them for their season outcome.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Maxey and Edgecombe are a force. Embiid is still on minutes restrictions, but I think Philly can get this done here. So plus 190 right now for Philly money line, and I believe Orlando played last night, so they're coming off of a very short week.
Yeah, they are, I believe, but I just don't know. The 76ers offense, I know it's working. I know it's clicking. You got a good coaching staff there, and you got some real game breakers with your backcourt in both Maxey and Edgecombe. You've also got really good complementary pieces as well that people don't really tend to talk about a lot for this team. Kelly Oubre is kind of the perfect 76er when you have so much usage out there on your ball handler, somebody that can play that dunker's role but also be a three-point shooter. Not a lot of Kelly Oubre types in the league. The Barlow guy, he's been pretty good defensively, but I still just kind of worry about overall what this team looks like defensively when you do have a lot of lineups out there with both Maxey and Edgecombe, who can be a little bit shaky. Edgecombe, he plays hard. He defends hard. He's the kind of guy that if you have a loose dribble, he's going to steal it from you, especially out in the open court. But he's still a rookie. He's still, growing into his body for how strong he is at his age. He's not the best defender yet. He'll get there, though. Definitely a good defender, not a below-average defender, but he's still a guard at the end of the day, going out there with a lot of big bodies. I need to see the 76ers prove it to me defensively. I believe this is actually their first real test. So I'm staying away from this game. Matt, you're on the 6.5. JR, you're on the Sixers. I think that the Sixers are going to be good. I also am not. You're beating you beat a Celtics team, granted in the Garden. That's one of the toughest crowds to play against. A Celtics team though that they're still figuring out the roles on that team outside of Derek White and Jaylen Brown. I'm staying away from this one, fellas. You guys have convinced me that this is a stay away for me personally, just because I think the Magic should win this game. I had the 76ers losing both of their first two games, and they went on and won them both. So personally for me, I'm just going to stay away because I got to see. I got to learn more about the 76ers in particular, just because they looked really good in their first two games, and they also looked good against teams that I don't project to be very good. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. Outside of that, fellas, I don't really have anything too crazy in the NBA that I'm looking at tonight. I like Dylan Harper going up against the Raptors. The Raptors have weirdly, I feel like, averaged more points than is what has been expected for a team that does have some defenders on it. They allowed 139 to the Mavericks, 122 to the Bucks. They also allowed 118 to the Hawks. So Spurs are going to put some points on the board tonight. They're healthy. Dylan Harper has been very impressive this season already, in my opinion, having one of the most efficient 20-point rookie performances they've seen in a while or whatever. His line's at 13.5 tonight. I like it. I'm on his over 13.5. I think he can get to that 14-point mark pretty easily. But that's going to be it for me, fellas. Anything else that we need to pay attention to in the realm of betting? Matt, you got anything?
I was looking at the Rockets and Nets game. I don't really mind Cameron Thomas 23+ against, like, that's a team that the Brooklyn is just not great. And Cam Thomas is kind of like he's just their dude this season. He looks like he's really going to step up. So 23+ seems kind of low for him in that kind of situation. So it's -110. So it's not like great odds, but it's not too bad either. So I don't mind that one.
I guess just because he should have a pretty good defender on him tonight. I believe Amin Thompson should be playing. So that's, I guess, why they're gonna put Amin on him. He's going to get his regardless of who's guarding him, but I guess that's kind of the difference between him getting his is 17 or 18 or his being 23 or 24 points. So I like that line, but it could be a bit of a sweat. Just if you
want to back up, I mean, Kevin Durant is only plus like 26+ against one of the worst teams in the NBA.
Coming off of a 37-point outing his last time out.
He's going to get either to the line 15 times in this game, or he's going to take the most step-back, fadeaway, like elbow shots you've ever seen an NBA player take.
Because they're not sending double teams. And
then you just hear Reggie Miller talk about it. He's like, you can't let him shoot from there. You can't do it. I'm like, well, he's 7 foot tall. You can't really stop him.
And they've got a rookie on him. Yeah, I could see that very well. About 3.5 minutes before we get out of here. JR, anything else? Obviously, this isn't an official show that we're giving out punches from our Ticket Puncher show, but I know you're a guy that does look into multiple games. Any plus money lines that you're seeing, or maybe something that a little bit hidden that you might like?
I was only looking at the one player prop that I gave out so far, which was my spicy ones, plus 190. Cleveland Cavs money line, minus 130, and then Spurs money line, minus 185. And to back up Matt on this one, 82% of the money is going towards the spread for the Philly game at the plus 6.5, just to give them some fuel.
Okay.
That kind of made me want to deter away from it, but, you know.
Well, that's all I got.
Not mad at it. Fellas, I'm liking these picks. I'm liking these plays. Hopefully we can go make a little bit of money tonight. JR, I've got to ask you, just because you're on a Louisville show right now and you are a Louisville fan, what did you think of the performance against Boston College this past Saturday, in which Louisville won 38-24?
I think it was a wake-up call. You know, it's the first true, like, chilly game we've had. You know, I feel like there's some games that guys get up for, like the Miami game, and then there's some games where, you know, we look how we did that game in particular. But second half, Braum got them fired up at halftime. I could tell that they came out with different adjustments on defense and on offense. The O-line started moving the way that we should have been moving from the start. But, you know, it is a wake-up call. I do think we need to start games a lot better, like exactly how we did in the Miami game with focus and intensity. And that was just one of those games that I think we came into thinking that it was going to be a laydown because of their record, and Boston College put up a very good fight. So I was impressed with us pulling it out. And like I said, overall wake-up call, but we will be better.
Yep. One of those games last year that we probably not walking away with the win with the way we were not able to handle adversity last year, it seemed like, in a lot of those close games. But against opponents like this, technically we did get the job done. Jeff Brom continues to go and just win games. That's all he knows, Matt. That's all he knows, JR. Just win. And feels good to be 6-1 with 5 games left on your schedule that you feel like you should have an advantage on. You feel like you should be able to win. Granted, SMU will be good. That'll be a tough team. They've shown that they can be beat this season already. So I'm excited for that. JR, thank you so much for joining the show here on the Mondays with Dalton Pence, sir. If you guys want to hear more of JR's picks, tune in tomorrow or any day on the week, 5:30 to 6 here on the Big X, Tuesday through Friday, the Ticket Punchers, where we give out all bets, both college and pro sports. JR, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you guys for having me. Let's punch some tickets.
Let's go do it. All right, Matt, this has been a pretty good show. I feel like we've addressed everything. We got a special guest in on the Call Your Law Firm hotline. Not very common thing we do on the Mondays with Dalton Pence show.
I actually had one thing to bring up really quick before we go out.
Go ahead.
It's not the biggest news ever, but it's technically breaking news. You know how Matt McClung was waived after like 3 hours?
Yeah.
Well, according to 26 minutes ago, the Pacers are signing him to a multi-year deal.
What?
That's his money's non-guaranteed, but they're waiving James Weissman to create roster space for Mac McClung, who will sign a non-guaranteed multi-year deal, sources said.
That's got to be the first ever non-guaranteed multi-year deal for a non-G League.
Oh, it has to be.
Like, he's getting a first-team non-guaranteed deal?
Yeah.
That's...
Which, I mean, like, I don't, like, the Pacers have no guards right now.
No, they need another ball handler on that bench. I don't think that they need anybody on this team who can't defend, but Mac McClung brings people to their seats. He sells tickets. He's interesting to watch. He's fun to watch. And I think that, the NBA probably, I feel like Adam Silver's like, all right, here's a bonus for anybody that puts Mac McClung on a roster so we can make sure he gets the All-Star weekend.
He's got to make the dunk contest.
We need him, so, we'll pay for his contract if you sign him, please. But this is going to wrap us up here on the Mondays with Dalton Pence show. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you all so much for listening, as we had to leave Dalton for this last segment. But he'll be back next Monday, as we'll be getting right to it with these hot mics. This has been Mondays with Dalton Pence right here on the Big X.